Saudi Arabia thought this war was under control. Then the Houthis found its biggest weakness. For years, the Saudi-Houthi war looked frozen, but not quite finished. A fragile truce had stopped the large-scale fighting, but it never solved the deeper conflict. Who controls Yemen? Who controls its resources? And who gets to define the future of the country? Now, those fault lines are opening once again. So, how did this calm give way to the recent fresh clashes, Red Sea attacks, and a new threat to Saudi Arabia's security? Let's decode this. The answer begins with a long stalemate. The Houthis, who control much of northern Yemen, wanted more authority and more access to Yemen's oil wealth. Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, had little appetite for another costly war after years of bombing had already pushed Yemen to the brink of famine. Then, the wider regional crisis changed the equation. As the US-Iran conflict intensified, the Houthis saw an opportunity. Pressure Saudi Arabia at a moment when the kingdom was already juggling multiple risks. For years, global energy markets focused on the Strait of Hormuz. But as that waterway faces growing uncertainty, Saudi Arabia's reliance on alternative export routes has become more pronounced. That places greater strategic importance on the Red Sea and, in particular, the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, one of the world's most critical maritime chokepoints. Millions of barrels of oil and vast volumes of global trade pass through these waters. Any disruption does not just affect Saudi Arabia. It reverberates through energy markets, shipping networks, and economies far beyond the Middle East. And that is precisely why these attacks matter. The Houthis are not merely targeting vessels now. They are targeting confidence. By threatening shipping routes and increasing the risks associated with maritime trade, they raise the economic and political costs of maintaining the status quo. In effect, they are attempting to turn geography into leverage. And for Saudi Arabia, that creates a difficult dilemma. Riyadh has repeatedly called for restraint and sought to avoid being drawn back into prolonged confrontation. But it has also responded with airstrikes and increasingly firm warnings, signaling that continued escalation will not go unanswered. The Yemen war was never truly settled. The guns may have fallen quieter, but the underlying disputes remain unresolved. The truce paused the conflict, it did not end it. Now, as a broader regional crisis unfolds, those unresolved tensions are resurfacing. The danger is what began as a Yemeni conflict could increasingly become a struggle over trade routes, energy security, and regional power projection. And if the Houthis succeed in turning the Red Sea's shipping lanes into a sustained source of leverage, Saudi Arabia may find itself facing the very confrontation it spent years trying to avoid. Riyadh can ignore the attacks and risk appearing weak, or it can respond forcefully and risk igniting a wider regional war. Either way, the battlefield may no longer be limited to Yemen's borders this time. WION decodes complex issues in simple words. What do you want us to decode next?